I'm Tia Borden with MiningIR, and beside me is Janet Meiklejohn. You sit on the board for Forum Energy Metals. Tell us a little bit more about Forum.
Thank you, Tia. It's nice to be here. So Forum Energy Metals, our flagship property is in the Thelon Basin, which is in Nunavut, Canada. I think what many people don't know is that the Nunavut is a geologic analog to the Athabasca Basin. So it's the same time, same geologic characteristics as the Athabasca. The main difference is that there's been a lot of exploration, obviously, in the last 50 years in the Athabasca, and very little that was done in Nunavut and on the Thelon Basin. We staked the property in 2021, but Cameco actually had the property from 2005 to 2012 and spent $50 million exploring it. And in that time, actually found two deposits. One was Tadagak and one was Kavik. And also found about 20 high priority targets that they think are unconformity type deposits that are similar to the Athabasca. So more, sort of that MacArthur cigar potential. So yeah, so that is the focus of our exploration for the foreseeable future.
Why do you think none of it was left untouched for so long?
You know, a lot of it is there's not much infrastructure up there. It's very far. Most of the all of our exploration is going to be done or is being done by helicopter or fixed wing aircraft. So I think there's a real perception that it's very expensive to work up there. There are, however, in recent years, so Orano actually, during that 2005 to 2012 period, they actually delineated a resource of 133 million pounds right next to us. So there is some exploration up there. And Agnico Eagle has their Meadowbank mine up there. So, as I like to say, it's not that the terrain prevents the infrastructure. It's really that there's no economic catalyst to put any infrastructure in.
Which I guess will come with time.
Will come. If we, it's one of those, if you create it, they will come. So we're hoping to have a big enough deposit that it's worthy of developing that infrastructure.
Janet, what differentiates Forum from other junior exploration companies?
In my words, we have 100,000 hectares in the Thelon Basin, which is largely unexplored. We also have access to all that data, that $50 million of data that Cameco created between 2007 and 2012. And our real special weapon is the geologist that actually worked for Cameco, running that or leading that exploration program during that period. Dr. Rebecca Hunter is our VP of exploration. And not only did she run that program, she also did her PhD thesis on the Thelon Basin. So I think we've got, there are very few juniors that are starting from our position where we have this large land base. We have a $50 million asset in terms of asset, and we have a superstar expert on the Thelon basis.
What are some of the challenges that you're facing being in Nunavut? And then on the flip side, what are some of the opportunities that you're finding?
I think again, it's, we're only able to drill from May to October. It's just too cold and too dark. The fact that we are at this point in time where we basically have to fly everything in. This summer we'll put a camp in place so that we're not flying back every night. But the opportunity is, it's so underexplored, and it essentially could be the next first class uranium district, just like the Athabasca.
And you recently just completed an exploration project. What were the results like?
That's a great question. So Cameco put down 132 holes during their exploration period. So part of what our program this summer was to put down sort of 4 holes in the Tadagak area, which was very much explored. A lot of the holes that Cameco put down were in that area. So our first hole was 2.25% over 11.1 meters. And then we stepped out a very aggressive 150 meters, and just to sort of show that continuity. And that was 1% over 9 meters, and then another 50 meters that we stepped out, which was 0.4% over U308 over 9 meters. So the idea being that we have continuity for 250 meters. But the interesting part about the Tadagak is that it's the trend is actually 1.5 kilometers. So we still have 1.25 kilometers to follow. At this point, it's about 50 meters wide, but the actual anomaly looks like it could be as much as 0.7 kilometers. So even that the one deposit that we're looking at right now, or discovery that we're delineating now, is enormous.
What does that mean for transitioning into the new year? What do you have to look forward to?
So we did 1,000 meters this summer. And so the idea is we sent out another drill up in September. So we'll do 2 drills next summer, 12,000 meters. And most of that will be 75% will be focused on the Tadagac, but 25% we want to test these high priority targets, hoping that we'll be able to bring back something that might be a game changer in the sort of north of 20%, which sounds a little crazy, but is possible.
And what does funding look like for next year's exploration project?
So the budget is about $10 million. So we've been very fortunate. We just announced a week ago that we're raising $9 million in charity flow through. And likely some hard dollars on top of that. So we should be closing that in the next in the short term, in the next couple of days. So I think Rebecca will be thrilled because we'll have the money in the bank and she can start the planning and the hiring so that we're all set to go early May, and see what the excitement from this next exploration campaign will be.
Lots to look forward to. What do you guys do to maintain communication and transparency with your shareholders and investors?
You know, that's very interesting. And I think we're pretty good at our press releases and making sure that we keep people up to date. Not all of it is material, but at least keeping it up to date. And I think, having and we're just getting into this again now, is just that shareholder engagement and reaching out and having programs. We do have some social media, but that of course needs to be expanded. It's a very different world these days. So, finding ways to reach your shareholder base is a little more creative these days. So we're working our way through that.
Jen, it sounds like you have an exciting year ahead and lots of success that you've just been able to enjoy over the last year. I thank you for sitting down with us, and I hope that the next year looks very bright for you guys.
Thank you, Tia. It's been very nice talking with you.
Nice chatting with you. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.